confirmation of our final result from the second race at the Pirelli Emilia-Romagna round here in Misano. Herrera beats Nela with Sara Puech on the podium ahead of Ponziani, Ramos Serpa and Sara Sanchez. Natalia Rivera also joined that podium battle. Wild card, Josephine Bruno inside the top 10. Lynn Villar, Isis Carreño, Madrigal, Pedamont and Ruiz all in the point scoring positions. Three crashers today. Carolina Danak going out late on that final lap. Emily Bondi and Taylor Ralph going out earlier in the day. The Riders' Championship, Maria Herrera extends her advantage to 24 points over Beatriz Nela. Pau Ramos is in third position ahead of Ponziani. Sara Puech, probably just a little. Sara Puech very much in that battle now, actually 14 points behind Pau Ramos. That is a wrap then on race 2 in the WCR in Misano. Next up for the women's class is a visit to Donington Park in July. Superbike and Super Sport though still to come on Sunday here in Misano. But next up is Sport Bike. This is a good ride from the wild card. While plenty of stuff happening up ahead of him, he's managing to just pick his way through the riders like Jeffrey Bowles, Michael Gaggi. He's got Fenton Seabright now in his sights, and I do apologise to Elia Bartolini. It was of course Bartolini going into P3, not Seabright on that occasion. David Salvador though is leading us here. Carter Thompson makes the move though for the lead. The Australian has made that one stick. Xavi Artigas looking to line up Elia Bartolini as well, and these four riders are all looking and getting a little bit anxious, I think, trying to get ahead of one another, and that's keeping that second group very much in it. And that's Elia Bartolini who is out of this one. That's down at turn 14. The Italian now is out, and that is both Italians on Triumph machines out of this race.
Yeah, for Bartolini, you're a little bit wide on the entry, and then you've got Xavi Artigas coming through, and sometimes you just need to see those positions. So often around turn 14 we see that you've just got to almost just run around that outside, because it's so easy to tuck the front like that. But Bartolini out of this one.
Yeah, disappointment for Elia Bartolini, because he was riding pretty well, it has to be said, but just that mistake was no room for error, really. Just you may have noticed on your screen very briefly that Gasca never took that long lap penalty he had to do, so he's now got a double long lap penalty. He's down in P23, so he'll be out of points no matter what. Carter Thompson though leading here. He's got his eyes on a maiden victory. Gonzalo Sanchez has cracked out of the race, but the number 50, Carter Thompson, is keeping everything tidy out in front. David Salvador and Xavi Artigas in tow. Antonio Torres as well, we've mentioned, is a two-time race winner in sport bike class, and this is his modus operandi. He just likes to hang back from the lead group and then strike very late, the number 47. That's how he's gotten his race wins in previous rounds, and it's worked out for him more often than not, although last time out in Aragon race 2, if you remember, he crossed the line in second position behind Bartolini, but both riders were penalised for aggressive over-the-line moves, you could say, in the eyes of the stewards. Torres particularly, and he was relegated down to 6th position. Carter Thompson, Salvador and Artigas still battling away.
Third or fourth time we've been able to see Carter come through into Carbone on someone, so Thompson, we know that his bike is working well on the exit of 10, able to use that slipstream and give himself the opportunity to come through on the Kawasaki this time for the race lead.
Having a look through the timing screens last time around, we're all in the mid to low 150, 143 still. So let's see what it's like after this lap. They clock off this lap.
Have a look at Salvador down in towards turn 1 as well. We'll see if he takes that sweeping line over the curve, or if he tries to attack on Carter Thompson. We've seen it a few times where he's been wider in the entry, trying to open up the corner and set it up through in towards turn 2.
Eyes on this lead trio and now lead quintet with Filippo Bianchi working his way in on the number 25. Artigas about to come under some pressure here from Antonio Torres, and Torres' move has opened the door for Fenton Seabright to move on through as well. So in the blink of an eye, Artigas has gone from 3rd to 5th position there, so it's all going to chop and change, and while these riders are still overtaking each other, it's allowing the likes of Bianchi, Gaggi and Bowes to come back into it. Here comes David Salvador later on the brakes and Carter Thompson to try and take over the lead, but Thompson has got a little bit of a tighter line on that occasion, not quite, so Salvador has made that one stick, and now Torres is looking for a way through on the Australian.
Let's see what Carter can do on the exit of this right hander to once again try and make that move up in towards Carbone.
Towards Carbone we come, that fast right-hander, turn 11. Thompson then was in the slipstream of the number 38 in his medic count. He's gotten himself in front of David Salvador. Got Fenton Seabright in the background trying to make a move up the inside as Xavi Artigas pushes, and Antonio Torres, I think it is, out of the way. So Artigas is back into P3, Thompson back into P1, Salvador P2. Fenton Seabright working his way through the crowd as well, and he's now in 4th position.
Good riding from Fenton. Once again, we saw him come away with 2 top 5 finishes last time out, in the 3rd and 4th position in Aragon, so certainly he's finding his form now on that bike and doing a really good job in the Triumph. He's going to put the pressure on the Xavi Artigas to come down in towards turn 1.
Yellow flags out a little bit further back, but into turn 1 we go. It looked like Fenton Seabright was going to have a nice drive into turn 1, but nothing going. He's hanging around the outside there of Xavi Artigas. That's Troy Savicka, who is out of this race. He's running further back outside the point, so no point for the Czech rider coming his way today. Carter Thompson though still leading the race. David Salvador, Xavi Artigas over Fenton Seabright and Antonio Torres. Bianchi now very much in this group. Matteo Venucci has set the fastest lap of the race at 142.9 from the Italian, but he's down in 10th position.
Yeah, for Bonucci, though, still able to put himself in position to bring yourself back to this league group if they fight with each other and they attack each other across time.
Yeah, you can just see there at the back of this league group on that last image there that Matteo Bonucci is at the head of that second group. So let's see if he can catch the riders ahead of him. That's Asuna and Jeffrey Bowles. There's still a bit of a gap then to the likes of Marco Gaggi just ahead. A word for Marco Gaggi as well. He's doing very well here. So there are two Yamahas, I think, for the first time this year in this league group.
Yeah, and for Gaggi, he's making use of that bike since he's part of Knoxville's team and still able to get himself back to the front there through Carbone. That's where he's going to make his move on the last lap. That's the only place it seems the card has really got the opportunity to attack.
Thompson leading the way here as Bianchi makes the move up the inside of Torres at turn 14. As you can hear, Stephen has very much enjoyed that move from the wild card.
Yeah, Bianchi's just looked really good since he jumped onto the bike this week. No one in the sport bike class had really heard too much about him. Obviously, in the Italian group, they've been able to know what to expect from him. Leads the Italian championship, but just able to do a really good job here and give himself the opportunity to fight the two podiums this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a superb ride. He was a little bit wobbly there going through turn one. We have yellow flags a little bit further back.
It's Di Persio that's crashed out down turn 14. So the order for Alex.
Alessandro Di Persio out of the points that time as well as he went down. So disappointment for him. So Thompson still leading over Salvador and Artigas here. There haven't been as many moves as we've seen in recent laps as well this time around over the last lap and a half or so.
Bonucci's pulled back another half second on that lead group, though 4 laps to go.
There he is.
Trying to close up on the number 91 in front of you.
Now Salvador pulls up alongside the number 50 of Carter Thompson. Xavi Artigas looking for a move through as well, but it's Salvador who gets up ahead of the Yamaha. Bianchi running around the wider line of Fenton Seabright, but Seabright holds on to 4th position with Bianchi just behind him. Artigas, though, he's got ahead of Carter Thompson here. Thompson looks to have just run it a little bit wide there, or was he going on a different approach? While, of course, the number 25 continues his charge forward at the expense of Fenton Seabright. Bianchi, the wild card, moves up into 4th position, and he smells another podium here.
Yeah, he certainly does. He's harder, though, on the number 50 machine. Got the run through turn 12 as well, where the race needed the top 5 all now really closely matched. This is where it becomes really important to be able to hold those tighter lines. Carter not able to do that, left the door open for Bianchi, and the number 25, he might well be spelling more than the podium. He might be thinking, no, I can win this race, and he's moved his way through this group pretty comfortably against Torres, Seabright, and now Thompson, and wants to have that opportunity to fight for that win.
Yeah, we're about to clock off another lap, and that'll be 2/3 race distance more than done as well. So now is the time to get yourself in front, just in case anything happens. Matteo Bonucci's charge continues to gather momentum, a 142.697 last time around. He's by far the quickest rider on track. The lead riders are in the 143.4. So Bonucci, there you see him. He's gotten himself onto the back of this group. Let's see what the Italian can do.
Yeah, they've been fighting, and he's just been hunting, and now he needs to make quick progress in this group and catch them by surprise a little bit. Gaggi run wide out on the exit of turn 6 there as well. Shows just how much everyone's pushing on.
So back out front, Xavi Artigas is about to make a move for the lead here at Puerta Corner, and it looks like the Kawasaki has got it done. The number 34 leads this race over David Salvador. Fenton Seabright has worked his way back into the podium position with Bianchi in, well, not for long, because Bianchi goes around the outside of Seabright coming through turn 10. Brilliant stuff from the wildcard. Now in the podium position, Seabright has moved into 4th position. Carter Thompson then is off the podium, and he's been very much part of that podium battle throughout. Antonio Torres is in there too. So Salvador leading the way over Artigas and Seabright. Bianchi is off the podium ahead of Thompson though, and Torres. There's a little bit of a gap then back to Gaggi as Bonucci continues to cut his way through the pack.
Bianchi comes in late there to make the move into 14 as well, ahead of Seabright.
We've seen a lot of wonderful moves already across the opening few laps here. The opening, 2/3 of this race. I've seen a lot of brilliant overtaking, yellow flags out a bit further back, but it's none of the lead group here. Salvador leads for yet another lap. 2 laps remaining. Artigas is making the move into turn 1. That's Humberto Meyer who brought out the yellow flag much further back, but Artigas is leading the way over David Salvador. Bianchi sits in 3rd with Fenton Seabright 4th. Carter Thompson seems to have lost touch ever so slightly with the group, but We've seen he's quick through these sectors as Antonio Torres barges up the inside of the Yamaha rider, and Matteo Benucci is going to be next for Thompson. That's Beñat Fernandez who's gone down into the gravel. That's a turn 1. But Artigas is leading over Salvador and the Triumph machine of Seabright. It's chopping and changing non-stop in this top 6.
Yeah, you see Seabright just able to get that run at the end of the straight as well, holding that wider line on the entry. That's going to set something up into 9 and 10 for him.
So Artigas leading the way, coming through turn 10 here. Will we see anyone make a move? Yeah, Artigas doesn't look like he got that one 100% right. He's gone wider here, might get a bit of better drive, but he's lost 3 positions there to Salvador, Seabright and Bianchi. So he's doing it the hard way there to Salvador, Seabright and Bianchi. So he's doing it the hard way. Artigas doesn't look like he got that one 100% right. He's gone wider here, might get a bit of better drive, but he's lost 3 positions there to Salvador, Seabright and Bianchi. So he's doing it the hard way. But holds on to the lead. A reminder that Prodina Kawasaki's are fighting each other for the championship, and through the mix-up there, Carter Thompson has pound for a podium. Torres has been shuffled back to 5th position. Javi Artigas now up into 4th.
And Javi doing a good job in this lap, but look at that gap that stretched out. Seabright, he's got the chance to win this race, and he's got a good bike in the final sector, but it's all about Salvador. Is he willing to put it all on the line to win again?
Salvador does move into the lead, and Seabright seems to have been stood up ever so slightly there. Turn 14 we go, 3 corners remaining. Carter Thompson's moved up the inside of Seabright. It's elbows out, that's Artigas who's gone right. Bianchi's opened the door and he's stepped through, but the top 3 looks set. Surely Salvador's going to win it from here. The final corner we go, Carter Thompson. Is there a move coming? Nothing yet for Thompson. Will he get any drive on exit? It's going to be David Salvador surely over Carter Thompson. Thompson's going to make it 3 podiums in a row, but it's a second win for David Salvador as he extends his championship advantage. Fenton Seabright is back on the podium. He led for the majority of that last lap, but he was shuffled back towards the end. Antonio Torres, Bianchi and Artigas all missing out on the podium.
Oh, you can see there for Javi Artigas, he's angry there with Antonio Torres for that final lap. Torres came through to finish in 4th. Artigas, he'll feel he was pushed out and dropped down to 6th position. Ultimately for Javi, he shouldn't have been there in the first place. He made a big mistake on the penultimate lap at turn 10, and that's what dropped him down the order and out of that lead battle. But David Salvador, important for him to be able to pick up that race win after last time out in Aragon when he had that non-score after the clash with Bartolini in race 2. But 27 points, it's a healthy championship advantage with 3 rounds to go, but it's also well deserved because he's been so good this season, so consistent, other than that one non-score.
Yeah, David Salvador rightfully celebrating there. You know what that dance is, Steve?
I don't, but luckily for you, Chris, you haven't seen me dancing, so
I can imagine it is a sight to behold.
it is exceptionally clumsy and awkward looking, so not like what we saw from Salvador in that final lap.
Yeah, very smooth from David Salvador. Second win of the season. He's got 3 poles.
He's loving that celebration anyway.
Yeah. I do believe I know that, and I think that's the 6-7 thing that all the kids do, but what do I know?
All the kids were doing a year ago, so Salvador's catching up now, but at the end of the day for Salvador, he has to make sure that he's able to get his job done. 2 wins this season, that's the most important thing for him. Fenton Seabright, though, back on the podium, and what we saw last time out in Aragon. He's backed it up here this weekend. That's really important for Fenton because the Triumph is obviously a good package. He actually was able to win yesterday's race, and for Fenton, he's been able to come away with 6th place yesterday and then a podium now, and just continues to gain that confidence and experience.
Yeah, it's a great birthday present for Fenton Seabright. Celebrating his, if I do my maths correctly, from 24th birthday, so a second podium in as many rounds for Fenton, and it's actually been a superb run of form, because when you look at his early results, Seabright, you had no score in Portimao, a crash in Assen, again a no score in Assen, a couple of crashes. Mosk, we saw him qualify at the head of the second row, picked up some good points, P7 before crashing out of race 2. And then Aragon, when we saw that consistency come in, qualified at the head of the second row again, that first podium, 4th position, just missed out on it in race 2. P6 here in yesterday's race, and now another P3.
But part of that comes down to the fact that for the PHR team as well, it was this is their first season racing at World Championship level, so they're having to adapt and learn on the go. But in those early rounds too, the Triumph tended to be where you could finish in the lower ends of the top 10. Teams have been able to figure out how to use that 660 a little bit better as the season has worn on as well. And obviously in the sport bike class, you're also trying to balance out the bikes and give yourself the opportunities to be able to contend with different manufacturers.
Well, it has been an excellent class to watch, and we've had a variety of winners. I said at the top of the program that prior to today's race, we only had Antonio Torres as a repeat winner. We've had 4 different manufacturers of the 7 win. Honda have only just joined full-time this weekend as well, while you have Kobe still waiting for theirs, and Yamaha, but Yamaha is close as ever through Carter Thompson. So a variety of manufacturers doing quite well. You've a variety of riders getting victories and podiums, but now we're starting to see really who the top riders are. The likes of Salvador, the likes of Thompson. Seabright on the podium again, but Thompson, Salvador particularly have shown that they're consistently there at the business end, as is Antonio Torres. So we're starting to see now who the top riders really are in the sport bike class.
Yeah, we're starting to see that bit of consistency at those leading positions, and that's the big thing in this class though, is that we want to see the riders make the difference. And I think there was probably a few times in the 300 era where the rider didn't make that difference. It was just about staying in the group and then being brave at the end. And I think that's where for Salvador, important for him to show that consistency. Thompson's found that as well now, 3 podiums in a row. Seabright and the Triumph is finding that point as well, and that's where it becomes important for all the riders to be able to make that step.
Down victory lane goes David Salvador, and he is really enjoying this one, isn't he? Big celebrations down there. Let's just take a little listen in to see what they say. I don't think we need a translator for that one, but yeah, big celebrations from the Prodina Kawasaki team. David Salvador, then confirmation that he is our race winner, as everything has been confirmed by race direction. Thompson Seabright on the podium. We said keep an eye on Bianchi. It's P5 for him in the end, just behind Torres and ahead of Artigas. Matteo Benucci's late charge culminates in a P8 finish behind Jeffrey Bowes. Bowes on that Suzuki, just salvaging some good points. Gaggi and Osuna picking up top 10 finishes. A good ride from Marco Gaggi. A good day for Marco Gaggi as well, converting that second row start into a top 10 finish.
Yeah, good weekend for Marco, and important for him as well. Think back to the 300s, plenty of times whenever he was paired up with the likes of Marco Janai, and he was able to be a top 10 runner, and he's starting to find that form now as well. So hopefully after the summer break we get to see more of that from him. But unfortunately for the sport bike class, we have to wait until 94 in September for the next time we're able to see him in action after the summer break. Good to see Pete Hickman down there as well, and Hickey down there to celebrate with his rider. And for PHR, they do an awful lot of work building a lot of race engines for Triumph, and Hickey's obviously got a lot of experience that he's able to bring to the fore and support the drivers.
Yeah, a big thumbs up there as Fenton just debriefs the team of what was another brilliant race. That was one of my favorites of this year. So he's already debriefed the team. Now we get a chance to hear his thoughts. This is Fenton Seabright.
Fenton, 3rd position on your birthday. Amazing way to finish the weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't complain about his birthday. Pole position and a podium. it's just what we were looking for. We were so close to it yesterday, and we know we had to come out fine today. We tried leading that last lap, but yeah, you know what it's like down here with the slipstream. We tried our best, and yeah, it worked out. We're on the podium. I couldn't be any happier, you know. But as a racer, you always want to win.
Enjoy it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Superb stuff then from Fenton Seabright. Another podium for him as second of the campaign. 3 in total for his team this year. They've got 2 down in Aragon, and now there's another one here in Misano. 3 podiums in a row though for Carter Thompson. Let's hear what he has to say.
Carter, second position, double podium, a solid weekend here in Misano.
Yeah, definitely a good weekend. I can't thank the team in Yamaha enough. The bike this weekend has been amazing with the new bike. They put a lot of effort in to get the bike here for this weekend so we can fight at the front, and we were able to show that we were able to fight, so it was a good weekend overall.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, you've been very impressed by Carter's riding. I have to say I'm very impressed when I hear him speak. He's so level-headed.
Yeah, he's just got a right attitude you want to see, and I think certainly if you're a team manager in the sport bike class or the super sport class, he's the guy you want to put on the bike. And he's got all the attributes that you need, and then doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and that's a big factor for a young rider as well. I think Carter, he's obviously got a big future ahead of himself. At the end of the 300 era, it was him and Benyan Fernandez that were the standout riders. Carter's 18, and he's going to have plenty of opportunities in the future to see what he does for next year.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on Thompson, but the standout rider of 2026 so far in the sport bike class is David Salvador.
David, amazing win in race 2 to extend your championship lead. Tell us how was the fighting front?
Well, it was really difficult because all the time the riders overtook me on the straight. But yeah, I feel super good in the break points. And I am clear, no, my strategy all the time, I'm pushing because yesterday I am not very well with myself. So I try to my best today. 100% for sure, and I want to say thank you to all the people who are supporting me here, all my team, because he's an incredible person inside in this team. So thank you to Kawa, to everyone, and my girlfriend, my friends, and yeah, see you after summer. Yeah.
Enjoy your good day.
There's a rider who's going to enjoy his summer break. As you can see there, really enjoying the celebrations of David Salvador here today. It's the second win of the campaign for the championship leader, puts him 27 ahead of his closest rival, which is his teammate Antonio Torres. These are the key moments, of course, from the race. He was always featuring at the front of it, as he always does in 2026, and this time he got it pinned and held on under immense pressure from the likes of Thompson, Seabright, but not just the podium finishers. Antonio Torres was there, Bianchi, Artigas, Matteo Vannucci had a late charge, Jeffrey Bowes was at the back of the group as well, but it's David Salvador who gets to celebrate hardest here in Misano.
Yeah, and for Salvador, as he said, he'll see us after the summer break. I'm really curious to see what all these riders do during the summer break, because quite a few of them are going to race in the domestic championships, whether that's the ESBK championship or it's coming back here to Italy for the CIB series. But we will see quite a few of these World Championship riders in action, just because otherwise it's 3 months, just 3 months of waiting to get back on track, and you can lose that bike fitness very quickly. But 3 rounds to go, and Salvador with that 22nd point advantage. It's a big lead right now, but it can turn quickly.
3 months is a long time to wait for our next sport bike race. I don't know if I can do it. I'm on the edge of my seat every time I watch it, so 3 months is a long time, but I really cannot wait for Magny, Cork, Cremona and Jerez when we have the final 3 rounds of the campaign. See what surprises it has in store. With a very international podium here, starting off with Fenton Seabright from the UK, Carter Thompson all the way from Australia. But on the top set is another young prodigious Spanish talent, David Salvador, who continues to enjoy all of the celebrations from the top of the podium. Each rider now will receive their trophies for what was a brilliant race, and one that will live long in the memory. It's a great way to sign off for a few months, particularly for these three riders who get to enjoy the silverware. For the likes of Torres, Artigas, Venucci, they'll have 3 months now to prepare for Magny Corps, try and find a little bit extra, particularly someone like Matteo Venucci, who we've already seen take the race wins and podiums and always be at the business end. He just seemed to be a little bit further away this weekend than we're used to seeing him. You know, we've seen him in the front row in Boston, Aragon, a race winner in Most in Assen. He was on the podium, pole sitter in Portimao. So just this weekend we saw him a little bit further away. That P8 finish would be his equal third worst result of the weekend. It was a couple of the year, I should say. But focusing on the riders who have gotten themselves onto the rational today, it's the Pradina Kawasaki's who lead the way. The 4th win of the season for the Pradina Kawasaki team. It's their 2 riders of Salvador and Torres who have taken the only repeat victories in the 2026 FIM Sport Bike class. Everyone else is just a one-time winner, but Salvador and Torres have now got 2 wins each to their name. Not for the first time in Sport Bike, and probably not for the last time. We're going to hear the Spanish national anthem in honor of the victor. La Marcha Real, the Spanish national anthem, plays once more on a World Championship podium in motorcycle racing, and that was wonderfully done from Salvador and the team that presented it fair. They'll be hitting the shower very quickly to wash off all that Prosecco. But a moment to savor for Salvador, Thompson and Seabright picking up a podium. The state of play then sees David Salvador extend his title advantage to a now commanding lead over Antonio Torres, his teammate. Torres has some work to do in the final 3 rounds and 6 races of the 2026 campaign. The likes of Thompson and Seabright picking up further podiums and momentum in their seasons. So your race 2 results from the Pirelli Emilia Romagna round here in Misano sees Salvador take the win over Thompson and Seabright. Torres, Bianchi, Artigas pushing now, as did Bowles and Venucci, Ganti and Jose Osuna rounding out the top 10. Mirko Jenai, Flair Actors, Alvaro Fuertes, Vargas and Hans Beckman all inside the points. That's Boatman's and Carson Missouri, 7 seconds between Missouri and the points. Benya Fernandez and Berto Mayer, Troy Savichka, Gonzalo Sanchez and Loris Veneman among the crashers, as were the Triumph duo Elia Bartolini and Thomas Benetti. Bartolini remarking but outside of the points. This is what it does to the championship standing. Salvador leading by 27 points. Xavi Artigas in 3rd position over Bowes and Venucci. Carter Thompson's podium streak sees him move up 2 into 6th at the expense of their actor with further Flair Actors in 8th. The Manufacturers Championship then, Kawasaki extend their lead over Triumph to 70 points, Suzuki in 3rd, 80 points behind, with Aprilia in 4th. Yamaha, Honda and Kove all awaiting their first win in the class. That's a wrap then for Sport Bike Race 2. Weekend to remember for Bruno Ieracci and David Salvador. After 3 successive rounds, Sport Bike will skip Donington before returning in Magny Corps. Next up on today's agenda is World Superbike Race 2, so stay tuned.